Lesson 5-6 is application of variables. It's basically a summary of all of the lessons that we've done so far in Unit 5, Introduction to Algebra. Your homework will be on page 16, notice, and there's really no place to take notes, so we're just going to start there. Before we do that, though, I just want you to take a look at a couple of applications of what we're going to be learning. So, an application of when you might use variables. Let's say that you have a rectangle. If, to begin with, it starts off with a length of 5 and a width of 2, you could find its perimeter. Perimeter equals, and if you remember, it's the distance around the whole thing. So you could do that a couple different ways. Notice because it's a rectangle, we know those side lengths are 5 and 2, and we could just do 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5. There are many ways to do this. We could also do 2 times 2, because there are two 2's, plus 2 times 5. We also just learned about the distributive property, which, if we work it backwards, it would say that we could also do 2 times the quantity, 2 plus 5. If you just add each of these side lengths and then double it, then you'll get the same answer. So all of these simplify to say 14. No matter which way you try to do the problem, you'll get 14. But what we're saying now is that we're going to apply a variable. Let's say that we want a formula that works for any rectangle. And you've probably already seen these formulas before. If I wanted instead to write a formula that would work no matter what the length and no matter what the width was, I could use variables to take those places. So here's an example. If I use x and y, the perimeter would be equal to, and if we start with the 2x plus 2y, it would also be equal to 2 times the quantity x plus y. Either way, whichever way works best, you can use. What this section is going to be asking you to do is to just apply what we've learned throughout the unit. So now, instead of just using one of the properties, we're going to use all of them together. So let's say that x equals 5 and y equals 7. Then I want you to simplify and evaluate this equation in this case. So p equals 2 times 5 plus 7. You probably already knew how to do this. You could either do this as 2 times 12, or you could use what we learned and do 2 times 5 plus 2 times 7. And that would be 10 plus 14, which is 24. Please do not forget that you still need to label your answers. And in this case, it would be units because it's perimeter. If it were talking about the inside, if it's talking about the area would be x times y, and that would be in units squared. So if we look now at your homework, well, first you may want to correct your 5-5. Please only do this if you have finished it. If not, make sure you finish it first. And you can pause the video to correct it. Notice the blue is what's preferred. The black is not in simplified form. So basically the only difference is that we put the variable term first and then the constant term, and that we do them in alphabetical order. Okay, the homework, here it is. So the very first problem looks a lot like what we had on the example. Notice to find the perimeter, you need to remember what you've learned about perimeter, that we add all the sides and that the opposite sides will be equal. So now we have 5x plus 5x plus x. And then we just put all those together. Remember, if it's just an x, it means 1x. And so I have 6 plus 5 is 11, and plus 1 is 12x. So that would be my final answer. You could write units to be even more exact. Number 2, find the area using the formula. So in this one, it tells you what R is. So this is evaluating. This is where we've learned to evaluate. Please, whenever you're doing these problems, show your work and make sure that you write out your answer. Also, if it gives you a unit, you need to use it. So remember that it would be inches squared in your answer. I'm not going to give you all of these answers, but please go through and make sure that all of your answers have units when there are units to give. Lastly, number 8, it might be a little confusing. It says circle the variable terms. Remember, the variable terms are the ones that that have a letter. But I would make sure that you color code, and that was the part that was a little confusing. So I would still color code or use shapes for these. And then remember, it says underline the constants, -8 is a constant. And then combine like terms, so that's like what we've done before. All right, do your best. Have a great day.